Well, it's another week of interest for people using the buses, of course, in the Isle of Man. I'm talking now with Eric Holmes from the Unite Union. First of all, we've got so much to talk about on the dispute. Should we start actually going back a bit and the 3-day stoppage? How did it go for you, from your members' point of view?
The 3-day stoppage was a first for me, and I did spend a fair amount of time on the picket lines as well. So I had a good consensus of what the general public's feelings were. Now, obviously, what I saw and what I evidenced is totally in contradiction to what the employers have said has happened and how successful their counter campaign was. In reality, I think the thing that actually saved them was the weather. The weather was atrocious, but as far as we're concerned, it was a successful.
And how do you rate a success? Because I mean, as you say, there's got two sides both claiming victory here, which is common, of course. I mean, they certainly on the first day didn't get the buses on the routes they thought they were, and people were left stranded. But they seemed to catch up a bit better on this day 2 and 3. Did people not cross the picket lines? Did people join you? What happened?
There was very little crossing of picket lines from our own members. Obviously, people were brought in as casuals, which is what we expected. But in reality, I mean, that tactic of the 3-day strike now has been altered by the workforce themselves. They're now looking at just taking shorter breaks. It's less disruptive for the public, but it is disruptive for the employer. At the end of the day, they're trying to force the government to come back for more meaningful negotiation. At the moment, DCCL are saying it's £300,000, that's it, 300,000. There is no compromise. We've tried different avenues that could work, but they've always insisted on their pound of flesh, and the pound of flesh is what they've said they will only accept.
Well, just back to the thing of having a 3-day strike and this time only half a day. People would say, whatever, that it's just because you don't want your members to, or your members don't want to lose so much money because only half a day instead of 3 days. So they're trying to make as much disruption over a smaller period.
Well, isn't that a smarter tactic? Like I say, it hits the drivers less and it hits the public less. But it does have the same effect. It wakens up DCCL management.
Interviewed the Chief Minister on Friday talking about arbitration and getting involved. And I had to push him, but he definitely was very clear in the end that he would not get involved in this dispute. He's not going to bang the heads together. This is down to you and to Graham, Jean, or that department anyway, to sort out.
Yeah, I spoke with the Chief Minister myself. I was at a meeting with him the other night, and obviously we didn't go into great detail with the bus. In fact, he tried to avoid the subject. We definitely didn't talk about arbitration. The thing that concerns me and has worried me right from the very beginning is the fact that the Chief Minister and the Treasury Minister, despite my asking them to become involved and give me facts, figures, bits and pieces and evidence it, neither party have actually done that yet to date. Now, all we're being told is 300,000, that's it, all the time. Now, they said they've evidenced it. They never evidenced it. We said in the pink book 150,000 was all we could find that they actually needed to save. So there's always been this disparagement of what is actually the amount that is needed to be found. Now, if it goes to arbitration, that would have to come out on the table, the true figure that we're talking about. Also, I was listening to Nick Black on the radio this morning in relation to arbitration and his dismissive attitude towards it. Mr. Black doesn't understand the difference between mediation and arbitration. He thinks that what we're actually using at the moment is Julie Bradley through Manx Industrial Relations Service. That is mediation conciliation. It is not arbitration. And to say that arbitrators are just lay people is quite disrespectful to the people who actually do the job, who are generally really clever academics and professors who will come in, you present your case, the employer presents his case, and a judgment is made upon it.
Well, he was saying, of course, that money can't be altered. I mean, they have to make those cuts, and there's no point in talking around it. That is it. The table, the offer on the table is what it is, and that's going to be it. But in all disputes, you expect some movement. Is that what you're still hoping for?
Exactly. This never was negotiation because one side was never ever going to move, even though they've never evidenced it officially and properly to me. It's never been evidenced properly. If it was so right that this is the amount, then why didn't Eddie Tier answer my questions and sit down with me and evidence it as well? Why is the Treasury Minister and why is the Chief Minister so adamant that they are not going to get involved in this dispute?
Talking with Bobby Moulton on the phone, he was pretty wild about having to come over last week just to be told there's no discussions. He was surprised with that. He's not going to come back, he says, until there's some sort of movement, some reason for him to come back.
Well, I must admit, I was of the same opinion. I thought the meeting had been set up specifically to see whether there was a way forward. It was when we turned up at the meeting that he was quite disrespectfully told by Ian Longworth, this is just an ordinary staff meeting. Now, we'd set a time aside and I'd said to Bobby, I said, there's an opportunity here to get back around the table. Do you want to take advantage of it? And obviously we do want to take advantage of any meaningful negotiation.
Well, we'll continue talking about this in our next section.